The High Court in Pretoria has turned down an interdict filed by the Department of Home Affairs on the Zimbabwe Exemption Permits debacle. Now, the department sought to overturn a previous ruling granting ZEP permit holders an extended period to challenge the termination. The Zimbabwe Immigration Federation has up until June 2024 to file additional papers in support of their quest to have the termination of the ZEP permits halted. Chairperson for the Federation, Dzviti, joins us now to chat about this latest judgment. Dzviti, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be back here again.
The details here, I mean, there's been many backs and forths regarding the court challenges. Perhaps give us a more detailed picture on what this latest court judgment means. Okay.
We are quite happy with the latest court judgment. It means that justice is still prevailing in the Republic of South Africa for both locals and foreigners. You see, I stand for Zimbabwe Immigration Federation, which is a federation of legalized individuals in South Africa. We had this ZEP permit from 2010. We recently won a court case in July, about 2 months ago, against the Department of Home Affairs, which wanted to terminate ZEP in South Africa. And the Minister of Home Affairs decided to make an appeal so that the ruling can be overturned. And unfortunately, he lost the recent court case again. We still have until 28 June 2024. Yeah. To file our Part B, which is our main court case. There's been Ellen Susman, which also had a court case, but they are discontinuing, and we are continuing from 2024 again.
So what's your argument in Part B? What will form the basis of your direction?
Okay. The Department of Home Affairs initially wanted to terminate ZEP permits, which were initially granted in 2010. You see, in 2010, before 2010, a lot of Zimbabweans had asylums and others had IDs, and they were asked to return this in exchange for a DZP, that's Dispensation of Zimbabwe Permit by then. And we were all given legitimate expectations that we'll be living and working in South Africa forever. I know they asked for letters that one is permanently employed. So a lot of Zimbabweans went on to buy houses, starting to pay pension, which is set to mature when one is 62, and they didn't say 12 years later, guys, it will be all over. If they had told us prior, we would not have paid pension or bought houses, because once you are permanent, you start paying pension. And so it's one of the legitimate expectations that we are bound to go and live and work in a country for a long time. And when those pensions mature when one is 62, not when one is 40 and suddenly all is over. And a lot have given kids, a lot of ladies have made kids here in South Africa, and the only place they know as home is South Africa. I've got 178,000 legalized Zimbabweans who are looking after 1 million other people. And so just to cut and terminate and say, go back to your country, you know, you'll be affecting the lives of about 1 million. It will be a humanitarian catastrophe, the worst one to ever happen in Africa.
So, is there any basis of understanding on your part when it comes to the motive behind this? I mean, with South Africa making this move, especially looking at the illegal people from Zimbabwe in the country, is there any level of understanding on your side when it comes to that aspect?
There isn't much level of understanding when we come to that aspect. Generally, as I said, I represent legalized ZEP holders, not all Zimbabweans. Zimbabwe Immigration Federation is against the issue of illegal immigration, right? Mm-hmm. But we are also against the issue of legal people being turned into illegal immigrants. Yeah. Because a lot of asylums, right? We are also going to look in the issue of asylum seekers and other illegal immigrants who became illegal, not by their own, but because during COVID-20, in 2020, 2021, Department of Home Affairs was closed. And so a lot of people who were meant to renew asylums could not renew because it was closed. And consequently, they become illegal immigrants. And we hope that they should be assisted in one way or another. And with the issue of illegal immigration, we are hoping that the government should relook into just legalizing everybody. Because it is better for illegal immigrants to pay tax, like everyone, to be accounted for. But we don't really stand on behalf of illegal immigration. It's just my own thought. So everyone can be accounted for in the country, because when you are staying at your house in wherever you stay and you have someone undocumented, you don't know that individual must be documented in one way or another. So, yeah, it's quite a victory for us that we won the recent court case for the notice for leave to appeal, which means all the ZEP holders will not be subject to Section 28, 29, and 30 and 32 of the Immigration Act. And the Minister of Home Affairs apparently had flouted Paja Act of 2000 of year 2000, whereby before one makes a decision that affects your life, they must actually first ask you to make representations as to why the permit must be continued, and then we'll make representations. So he hadn't done that. That's why he lost the first court case and then lost the appeal now. Yeah.
So is there a level of understanding on redoing this application? I mean, we speak about, you made mention of the illegal immigrants in South Africa that you don't represent or stand for, and then you spoke about those who are here illegally by default. And the South African government, in trying to remedy the situation and ensuring that there's a balanced ratio when it comes to legal Zimbabweans in the country and their mission with the ZEP, is it still a bone of contention in understanding that the process that they're trying to follow as a government, I mean, you speak about how it will be detrimental to Zimbabweans who've set up here, invested their money and you know, trying to stabilize their lives in South Africa. Perhaps talk a little bit about that in a balance.
Okay. There are two issues that I will just briefly explain there. Yeah. In the first place, the labor laws of South Africa state that any company must have a certain percentage of foreigners at a company, right? Yes. By then, in 2010, a lot of Zimbabweans were employed, and they got these permits, right, after going through correct procedures through the labor department, because the ratio was okay. But now we are being made scapegoats of the failures by ANC, because during COVID time, a lot of South Africans lost jobs, not because of Zimbabweans. In 2010, we were 250,000. Now we are 178,000. Our figure is going down, and the unemployment rate in South Africa is going up. It was about 11%. Now it's 30%. But our quantity is going down. So from what we learned, we saw that during COVID time, a lot of companies closed and were unable to reopen, and a lot of South Africans lost jobs. Yeah. And now the blame is being put on Zimbabweans, as if it's Zimbabweans who closed the companies or had arrears in rent house and things like that. So we sometimes feel it's a campaign strategy by ANC to, you know, to label Zimbabweans all sorts of things by saying all the jobs were taken by Zimbabweans, but no one can go to Durban and say, look, there are a lot of companies in Durban with Indians only, and a lot of companies in Cape Town with white people only. We are being made scapegoats of everything. We are also we're having the same problem with the police minister, where Okai Molawo is only targeted to black people, and the same doesn't happen in areas where white people live, where there's been persecution of ZEP holders who actually have a permit which was declared valid, and they still find themselves being locked up by police in Johannesburg and other areas, saying, we want to verify if your permit is genuine, right? But that will never happen in Cape Town, at Camps Bay. They can't go and say to a white person, we also want to go and lock you in prison to verify if your tourist visa is genuine. So we consider it more of a xenophobic tendency which is happening, and a scapegoat by ANC to put all the blame on Zimbabweans. But we are glad that at the High Court of South Africa, justice is still prevailing in the Republic of South Africa, and we won the court case, and we hope that next year we win another one again. So
what would that win essentially mean for you?
It will mean that Zimbabweans who are ZEP holders can now be able to continue having the permit for as long as they are employed, right? or to have a permanent residence. By law, we should be having permanent residence, right? We've been legal in the country from 2010. Now it's 13 years. One must be permanent resident in a country when he has been there legally for at least 5 years. So they said the exemption permits were not meant that one should be permanent residence forever. But by law, we are looking into the laws. I consulted with my lawyers so that those who have been legal in the country for at least 5 years must at least get the permanent residence or get another paperwork to work for as long as they are still employed, paying pension. Because if it's cut off, it's a bad deal, you know, because they will be doing something which is not against what an employer is expecting to get the benefits at the expected time of 62 or 65 years. And lately, we are having also tough time with the traffic department and the UIF. Is someone who contributed UIF, they still take money from ZEP holders, right, saying this is UIF, but they do not want to pay it, right? It's quite sad. UIF is deducting those little amounts without saying you are a foreigner. When it comes to paying now, it becomes an issue. You are a foreigner, we can't pay you. Same as road accident fund. Yes. After contributing and paying tax for many years, they now say, no, we are now going to exclude foreigners from road accident fund, same as hospital. I've been paying a lot of tax in South Africa, right, running into hundreds of thousands of rands. I still go to the hospital and being told, you are a foreigner, we cannot assist you here, you have to pay cash. But we are paying tax. Like I say, our federation is for legalized immigrants who are actually working and contributing to the economy of South Africa by paying tax.
Okay. Unfortunately, I wanted to ask you another question, but we're going to have to leave it there for now. And thank you for your time. Of course, you expressing the hopes that you have as you take on the second leg of your legal argument in court. Of course, leaving it there for now, the Zimbabwe Immigration Federation Chairperson, Dzviti, giving us a sense of where they're standing when it comes to the Department of Home Affairs losing an appeal notice to leave appeal against the ZEP holders, and they're legal until the 28th of June 2024 here in South Africa. We will definitely reach out to the Department of Home Affairs to afford them to the opportunity to respond to this conversation that we just had.